Hey guys, welcome to schmoedown Canada. How's everyone doing? I am Ben, joined by everyone today. Dave, Francie, and Ryan. How are all you guys doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Ben. Thank you for asking. You can call this episode Return of the King because I have made my way back to Schmoedown Night in Canada.
Oh boy, the Eagles already back. Good
Hey man,
lord.
it's been like a solid 2 months,
Holy
Lou. I haven't seen you.
shit.
Last time I saw you, you had like a much bigger beard. Your forehead was a little bit smaller. It all
Yeah,
happens.
and I was a lot fatter too.
Well, I picked up the weight that you dropped.
Well, there you go. Well, you picked up my full 40 pounds.
Oof.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we'll see.
I never fucking noticed my pinky actually curved towards the end. Fuck.
Well, this is a great start. But not, I'm happy to be back. Kinda ish with Dave. Always a pleasure, Ryan. Always a pleasure, bitch.
Yeah, that's going to come back to haunt me every time.
I am not letting that go. You are stuck with that, man. All
You
right,
know what? I'll
it's good to be
own
back.
it. I'll own it. I'll own that. Well, maybe.
That-
Mhm.
No, I was gonna say that feels like a conversation or an inside joke I missed out on, but keep going.
Yeah. This is quite a week of schmoedown matches. A few surprises, a few wins that we thought were going to happen. What are you guys' overall thoughts about this week in general before we get the timing?
Outside of being digital, this really showed three classic styles of matches that I loved in the early seasons. Even though they were all singles, I love seeing Barbarian and the Kid, two masters of the game in their own right, battling it out. You get fuck you, Taco. You get two like rookie stars rising up, and you get Dan versus Janine. Like what two people who you always love to see, and it really warmed my heart to see all of them play. Even though I hope next year we can get some of these matches in studio.
I agree. I mean, oh, go ahead, Frenchie. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, going into what you were talking about before we started the stream, I actually prefer digital. I don't know why, but I find it easier to watch. I like the fact that everyone's placed a certain way. Live matches are fun because you got the studio people, you got like interaction of them being together. But there's something about just the position and the way it's laid out, and also just the type of match it is. I'm starting to get used to and loving the digital. It kind of makes me sad knowing that it's going to probably be less and less. I know I'm in a minority in this, but I actually got used to it to the point that I actually prefer it now.
Actually, you're not alone there, Frenchie. I do also enjoy the digital matches because of how they spaced out the pair ups. Honestly, I mean, I understand, especially when we learn through after shows or through interviews, how some of the players have said that they'll go for studio matches. They'll go in on Saturday, they'll record a match, and then Christian will approach them and go, "Hey, some plans have changed. Like, if you have lost the match, like, you want to come back, you want to just play another match, like," and they're like, "Yeah, win right now." Oh shit! And especially for those who are not who don't live in California, where if you got to travel there, especially if Christians, I'm not going to put all that on Christian, but it's like at the moment, if Christian sees a good pair up of matches, he can't help but not want to put that together. But with digital, it was right there, a good spreadsheet of players to where you can plan out who Owen, who was debuting rookies, or who was 0-1, or who was 1-2, like who was batting under 500, who was over 500, to pair up against each other so it felt evenly matched. That's one thing I will miss if digital's going, if it is going to be going, if it's going away.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing, and I'm sorry, Ben, that I'm jumping back in, but I think that's the beautiful thing that the FCL is going to keep alive, where you're going to have all these digital matches that are fantastic. But there's a specific moment at the beginning of the Barbarian and Kid match where the Barbarian says, it's time to put this kid to bed. And I'm like, that is so great. And I think it hits a lot more if he's like looking into his eyes across the table. And also, if I had flashbacks to the kid playing Stacy in that moment. So I was like, oh no, this isn't going to go good for the Barbarian. But and I was wrong. But that moment I think hits so much harder when they're standing there. And I agree. I think digital definitely has its ups because you get more of these weird pair ups that you can do when Paul Oyama lives in Hawaii and then Griffin Newman lives in whatever it's called, New York. I don't know why I said whatever it's called, the most famous city in the world. But you can get some of those like weird matches that you can't get when they're only recording in California. But I just love, I want to see that like energy and the players feeding off each other again.
We'll get there, but we should start going into these matches. The first one, Paige versus Griffin News. What are your guys' thoughts about this one?
There was a lot for me going in this, honestly. To be honest, these are two great rookies. Although it was obvious the majority was on Griffey Noom's side because of how he was playing. But Paige, with her personality and with her just like overall like commanding presence when you see her on screen, though, it felt as if she was the one, just like in her match against Bateman, you felt that maybe she was going to be the one to give Griffey her first loss. So while maybe 60% was towards Griffey, I was kind of part of the 40% for Paige in this match. I wanted to see win.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
I wanted Paige to win. I was expecting Nooms to win. I mean, my heart goes with Paige. She's one of the interviews we did, I've loved her evolution. She got better and better every time. Hell, she shut the mouth of Ben Bateman so fast and played his own game. Not a lot of people can do that. So in my heart, I want her to win. But something about Nooms, there's something about this kid. There's a reason why he got drafted first, and people overlooked him. He's a danger. He's not to be taken lightly, and he might, either him or Harper personally are winning the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think that's a great point about Rookie of the Year. I think Nooms probably has it locked up just because he's been so dominant in both teams and especially singles. This also brought me back to classic schmoedown, where Paige was a character who I didn't love out of the gate, but I grew to love so much more as in this tournament, where every match I found myself rooting for her more and more. But Griffin Newman is someone who I think came into this league, and it helps that he's an actor. He came in fully formed and ready to play, because he reminds me of like a sillier Team Action. And I love that. It gives me so many flashbacks of like Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman in their first season, but he's like a sillier version, and I love that. And I definitely thought Newman was gonna win, but I found myself as I hit play on the match saying, "Man, wouldn't it be great if Paige won though?" Because I really have enjoyed her journey so far.
Going off what you said about Nooms, there's some players that they need a evolution time. They need like a adjustment time to the game and character and everything. Nooms was a plug and play from the beginning. He was ready. He was made for it. A bit like a Roca. There's certain players that it's their first match and it seems like they were made to be in the schmoedown. Nooms is the same. Again, probably helps as an actor, but he gets the whole competition. He gets also the strategy right off the bat. He gets the character work, all from his first match. So that's a rare type of player that you don't see often.
I mean, also add on the fact that he's done Bard trivia before in the past, unlike so many other people that Christian knew. So he was definitely able to pick up on that, but at least when it came with this form of the game, though, that was a completely different story. But just to see how adaptable he was is very impressive when you look at just his overall range of play as a player.
Now, Dave, you said he reminded you of Team Action. I agree, but I would say maybe he had a little bit more knowledge to start with than Team Action did. Would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. Like he undoubtedly in his first season, much better than either Ben or Andrew was in their debut season. That's why I said like he comes in fully formed, where he's not like someone like Andraco who came out in with all the knowledge in the world, but like needed a little bit of time to work on his character, or Team Action who comes in the flight suits and like the heel laughing at people, but then needed a little bit of time to get their knowledge together. He comes in fully formed. Oh, I now see that Taco agrees with me about the King Arthur thing, so I would like to retract my statement. I don't agree anymore. He in no way reminds me of Team Action. I'm sorry.
But again, I know, Taco, that's what you said doesn't mean you're right. Because look, hear me out. Team Action had two really good heels. King Kong is not a heel. King Kong is not a heel. He's a knowledgeable, very to the point, not much of a character, but still knows his shit. And then he got Nooms, which is character for two people, right? You don't need two characters when you got Nooms. So that's why, like, the knowledge level, I find even King Arthur has a bit more than Team Action, because Guy is a really good character, so-so player. And Ben Bateman is an incredible character, incredible player as well. So kind of reminds me just a bit, but I find them so totally different in their dynamics. King Arthur, not King Arthur, King Khan is not someone who's going to do a promo and bash you in. He's going to just be like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to win. So I don't find you're right, Taco.
Ben, what do you think?
I don't know.
Long enough.
Khan is kind of a heel because he plays like I know more than you and I'm better than you, and he's trying. And even though he doesn't sound like it, it's kind of like what he's supposed to come off, especially in his match against Ben Goddard. He was supposed to come off like an asshole, but even though he didn't sound like one.
Yeah, I think Griffin Newman is the full package. King Kong has knowledge. His character work could use a little bit more work. But I think together they are pretty damn good, and I can't wait to see them at the Spectacular. So anyway, round one happens. Griffin goes 7-8, and Paige goes 3-8. What did you guys think of round one?
I thought round one was really good. It was really impressive. It was a great showing from both of them, even though I know it was not Paige's best round one. Still, as long as you're getting those solid numbers, as much as you can do. My favorite matches are the ones where nobody scores a perfect round one. And that's what I got this time, and I love seeing it. I thought the questions, like I feel like we say this every week, the questions are just killing it every time, and takes me back to 2014 or whatever it was, where I'm, or not 2016. It's like, oh yeah, I could definitely play in the schmoedown. I could beat these guys, and now I'm like, I don't even have I ever seen a movie before? Probably not.
What did you guys think, Frenchie and Ryan?
I would love to answer, but I can't remember what I did this morning, let alone specific rounds and matches.
So it's a good thing you're on a recap show.
Yes. Well, and this is why I hate when Taco's like, let's go round by round. I don't remember shit half of the time. I like to speculate and think about the future and, conceptualize about what we can see, not to remember what the fuck I watched. Because again, I can't remember the fuck my name is half the time.
I've missed you, Lou.
That's one thing I always do for our show. We break shit down so much, like it's become a thing for me to break this shit down. And I will say that first round, I will go with. I wanted to break everything down, but that first round, Man, this was unfortunately not. I will just say overall, not. I won't say Paige's best match, but it was clear in that first round, though. Once Griffey, he just kept answering question after question, and Paige just kept falling back at. She starts getting an answer right around the sixth question, but even then, you do see how far apart like the score is. First, it's a 2-point lead, then it gets to the end, and then it's a 3-point lead. It's a 3-point lead by Nooms. Like, I was ashamed. Not ashamed, but I was shocked. I was just shocked he didn't go perfect.
Someone also pointed out in the comments of the video, which, you know, they always say don't read the comments, but someone, I forget who it was, had a very funny comment where this was the first match where Griffin Newman used a repeat. It's like it finally happened.
Oh, wait, that after I think he said over 200 days, Griffin finally used a repeat.
213 days. I'm looking at it now. 213 days. Griffin Newman has finally used a repeat. But I think in terms of you're talking about scoring, I've always said that as long as you can keep it within 3 points, I think you're that's where you want to go. The moment you start going down by 4 or 5, that's where things really start to fall apart. But that's why I said she's putting up solid numbers. Where as long as you can keep it within those 3 points, most of the time you're going to push it to the 5. Obviously, didn't even kind of happen this time, but out of round 1, I was still very optimistic for Paige.
Well, round two happens. Griffin gets what is it? No, Paige goes first. She gets remakes and reboots. She misses one, but gets her next 3. And then Paige gets Chip Hansen out. Paige. Griffin gets Chip Hansen and he goes perfect.
Well, he does check down local choice a couple of times though, but he still gets a good round.
Yeah.
And this is the one thing where like I love this season just because we're getting these weird categories like remakes and reboots. I always love when it comes up because, you know, I always feel it didn't happen this match, but I always feel educated where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a remake. Oh, wow. Interesting. Don't ask me to name an example right now. Couldn't do it. But I'm always impressed when someone does well in remakes and reboots. And even though she missed her first one, Paige still performed very well in that category, which I think is one of the misleading, difficult categories, especially if it's like a famous reboot. Where you're like, am I thinking about the original or the new one?
Yeah, great. Is this a new movie release category, you think? For difficulty?
I don't know about the movie release dates. I just think it's because movie release dates you can easily study through, you know, with research. But remakes and reboots, that one's like very complicated because you just like before and you have no idea what's been remade or rebooted. I mean, even what you thought was an original IP that maybe came out in the 70s, turns out it was a remake of something that was in the 30s or in the 20s.
Mm-hmm. Like Scarface, or like there's movies you just forget.
I think it's its own beast all to itself. I think movie release dates and scores, and it might be like the new scores and soundtracks where it's just that like little thing that you're forgetting. But
it's easier to do. Like we had specialists, of course, with soundtracks, like Riley, right? He is, and I probably would be one too because it's something I love to listen to tracks and go on IMDb and check who does it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's still easily researchable in an IMDb and Wikipedia type of thing. Remakes and reboots, it's not as easy to study because, again, we are talking about a vast category on things that you really have to know movie knowledge in general to understand. Hey, look, this I thought was IP, like we just said, but it's a remake because there was one in the 1920s. You know, there's a lot of recycling done in Hollywood. So it's a lot broader, and it's even more broader than a decade because it goes through like many decades.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was courageous on our part, but I would have never taken that category.
I mean, for round 2, it felt like a smart category to take because maybe it did feel like it, but I guess because it was so vast, you're just kind of hoping that most of the remake and reboot questions you get is something like post 80s, and even then, maybe like that little nice little gap between the 80s and the 2000s to where you can easily pick off questions. But because Paige had missed her early on question, it did show that they were going wider than normally expected. And but yeah, it was completely different from when Griffey got Jim Henson because it wasn't the fact that it was finite, but someone told me after they watched the match that because they listened to Griffey Newman's podcast that he was doing a breakdown of Jim Henson movies on his podcast. So if you want to talk about the stars aligning for Newman, I mean, what better slice than Jim Henson?
My favorite thing about the Jim Henson category, and maybe I'm getting this confused now, because it might have been in the Barbarian match, but where they asked the Muppets Treasure Island question,
Yeah.
and Mark says, "We're doing book questions now? What's this?"
That was so good.
God, Mark is so funny.
That was a great, like, classic Ellis Zinger. Like, oh, we're doing book questions now? I love it.
Yeah. I hate the fact that it was a Planet of the Apes question that Paige missed a question on. I'm going, Jesus, why does that remake of Planet of the Apes need to be involved in this fucking match?
Why is that not a movie we can all just burn from our collective memories?
One thing, I love the technical aspects of that movie. And the poor performance that some of the actors go into, like Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Roth and Michael Clark Duncan, Kerry Hirosaka, like the performances they do becoming the apes, and even Paul Giamatti. It's just the fucking direction and story that was done.
I'm sorry, you left out the greatest actor in that movie, and maybe of all time. You know, Marky Mark, he's there, he's making out with a monkey. It happens.
Oh, I left him out there for a reason because his acting was shitty in that film. He acted like a dude, bro, who just popped on a planet.
How dare you insult Marky Mark, the greatest thing that ever happened to Transformers?
I thought pre-show Ryan saying that Muppets were real people was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Lou, I feel stupider for being in the presence of you.
What's better? What's better then? Shia LaBeouf or Marky Mark?
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of Shia LaBeouf and her son Shyla, but you know,
I was fine that Shia was taken out. I was pissed if Fox wasn't given a comeback for Transformers because she was her character was the only believable person in that freaking franchise.
Why are we talking about Transformers? I hate it.
You went from bad movies. You went from a bad Planet of the Apes film, and then you dragged it into a bad Transformers movie with Mark Wahlberg in it. That's the connective thread.
Lou, this is gonna be a longer conversation.
Okay,
I used to respect you. I don't know that I can say that anymore.
Wait, you move along. Why don't you move on?
Lou, I'm talking about Lou saying about Mark Wahlberg's the best thing that ever happened to Transformers. I'm like, what are we doing here? What do we like? Is life worth living anymore? I don't know.
It's still better John Cena. All I'm saying.
At least
what happened in round 3, Ben?
Yeah, round 3.
Round 3, Paige goes first because she needs to catch up. So she gets Tom Hanks, misses her round 3 second pointer. She gets, we make a reboot again for a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
She gets it. And then for a 5-pointer, she gets 2000s. She misses it, TKO, Griffey News wins. What are you guys
about this? Sorry, I'll say that one thing I did rewatching the match was that the question that Paige on, she actually did know, like the Tom Hanks question, like some of the round 1 questions. It was just like her performance with Ben, where they were just not connecting for her, and it's one thing that kind of broke my heart.
What did you think, Dave?
You're muted.
You're muted, man.
Oh, I was eating in between because I just had to bury my sadness. with Lou's comments. My apologies. It hurts seeing it happen, and you're sad to see it happen to Paige getting TKO'd like this. But at the same time, it just builds the legacy of Griffey Nooms, where like 5-0, 4 TKOs, and it's like this. He's unstoppable, and it's the kind of thing you love to see happen in a tournament season, like last year with Collins, or 2 years ago or 3 years ago with Ethan. You love seeing this kind of story come out in tournament season, and I'm just so hyped now that he's going to be going up against Bibiani in the next match.
Yeah, who do you see in that match? I mean, we could come back to that. Think about that. What do you think about this TKO, Frenchie?
Well, we're talking about Nooms?
Yeah.
Well, again, not surprised, and especially going against Bibbs, that's a whole different beast, though. No pun intended. Paige, again, I love her, and she has so much potential. A faction better pick her up next year because I'll be pissed. But Nooms, again, is something different that we don't get many players like this. Same could be said for Bibiani, which is maybe arguably on one of the best teams ever put together ever. So that's, for me, equal footing. And I really don't know. Today I'm saying Bibbs. Tomorrow I might say Nooms.
Ryan,
I'm
what
on
do you
this.
think?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm on the same way with French though, because the fact that Nooms is now moving on to Bibiani, which I think is definitely going to be his biggest challenge as a competitor in his singles record so far. And this is not to take away anyone the other people he's played up against. It's just seeing, because with Bibiani, we know his track record, and that's what Frenchie just said. We know his standing with Shazam, coming to be one of the top 3 best. Like they cracked in the top 5 of the best teams in the schmoedown. And Bibiani, he has been on once again a role in his matches to where he is his well-rounded knowledge has saved him in matches. And even when he's down a point or 2 points, it doesn't change, like going towards the end and winning it. So for Griffey, it's real. I think the biggest thing is going to be who is going to draw first blood first round, and in the second round, that's going to determine what happens in the third round and what are the difficulty of those questions going to be, especially the 3 and 5 pointer. Because otherwise, I could honestly see this going to sudden death between those two.
It's going to be a hell of a match when it eventually happens. And I just can't wait. Like, I'm like Lou, where it's like you ask me today and I'm like, Bibbs is just killing the game. And I say this, I think it will probably go Bibbs's way because, and I talked about this during Harper's Star Wars tournament run, where I think the best thing that ever happened to Harper was he had a bad first round and like a not great match against was it Gold Leader, where it was like, it was both of them were not playing. It was not the greatest match from either person, and I'm like, that's the best.
Witt or Cabrera? I think it was Witt or Cabrera because
it was Cabrera. It was
Cabrera because he missed 2 questions in that first round. Yeah,
and I think that is still I said then that it is hard, if not impossible, to maintain a level of excellence forever. Eventually, you will get beat, and eventually, even if it's only in one round, no one stays perfect. No one stays undefeated forever. And Griffin Newman still is looking for that fine, but not great first round or match. So that's what worries me with him going up against Bibiani, where will this be the match where it finally breaks? But, you ask me next week when I've had some time to think about it, I'm going to be like, yeah, no, Bibbs is fucked. It's all Nooms all day.
What makes it interesting, too, if you permit me to go also in the team standing perspective.
I do permit you.
Well, okay, it was more rhetorical, and I really don't give a shit if you give me authorization or not, but I still love you, Dave. Dan, sorry, Dan. All right.
Wow.
And I thought Taco and I was developing one hell of a rivalry.
Oh no, like,
Developing.
you have
This
no
started
clue. We are the
before
OG rivalry.
we hadn't had there hadn't been a show yet, and me and Lou hated each other. Okay,
Everyone hates me. I don't know why. I'm not
Yeah.
that bad.
you got a very punchable face, Lou.
I
Like
do.
and subscribe if you want to see me punch Lou in the face.
No, but by that being said, for the standing wise, makes it interesting because a lot of people were saying at first, "Oh, corruption. No one has a chance." Yet Finstock Exchange have a team, Neumes. They have potentials now to get belts, and we got Quirky Mercs right on the trail too. So, two teams that not a lot of people first gave shots to, including me. I remember always my tier. I actually put Quirky Mercs last. Was trying to put Finstock Exchange first when everyone laughed at me, and I was kind of right. But at the same time, this rivalry will probably determine who is next in line to maybe beat corruption.
Maybe.
And it's true. Even Gucci has stated, in the team this past pay-per-view, how especially in his post-interview with Jen, how everyone really was looking at him like he lost his damn mind. And seeing how that plan has unfolded, yes, they may have not have been always number one in the standings, but every match they played, within the top 5. They were never below top number 5, unless when it came with championship matches from that other factions had. Even then, the Finstock Exchange always stayed there in the middle. Now with Griffey Nooms advancing, and from this pay-per-view with King Arthur advancing, Finstock Exchange is right there to maybe not win it, but to at least finish in second.
You,
I mean, it really
you bring up
depends
a
if Griffey gets.
Okay.
you bring. Sorry, Brent.
No. After you. We have to keep moving on, but after you.
We can
Oh my
finish this
god,
up
yeah,
with-
we've gone half an hour on this first match, but you're right.
Yeah.
And this kind of leads into the barbarian conversation as well. But it is very interesting that we have done that. Finstock has been able to get up to the place he is in the standings with no title matches. This is all on the back of rookies and the barbarian just crushing the game out there. And it's, you know what, Lou, we go back to January when we're doing our tier ranking. I stand by everything I ever said, but you know what, maybe you had some good points too.
Thank you. Yeah,
No.
again, I am crazy. I am nuts, and I make no sense half the time, and yet I make sense. Before we continue on to the next match, I just want to officially announce during stream we officially hit 250 subscribers. So thank you very much for everyone who are supporting us and been watching since the beginning, except for you, Daco, because you just start watching us because when you joined us.
Choco's never watched a show we've done. Okay,
He's
let's be
kind of
totally
watching
honest.
it now. So, but
Fair.
no, but thank you again for the people who have been supporting us. We're officially at 250, and we appreciate it.
Let's get to 300 by Spectacular.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay. Now go on to this match. That kid versus the barbarian. Quick, what are your overall thoughts about this in maybe one sentence or less? Dave, let's start with you.
I've always loved the kid from the first time he went in, and I thought he was going to win. I was wrong.
Frenchy, how about you?
Same thing. For me, it wasn't a done deal, but when it comes to Bibbs and when it comes to the kid, it's kind of like an automatic response in my brain now, like, oh, they're going to win. Right? It's shocking when they lose. So I was shocked.
How about you, Ryan?
I just have to say, well played for Barbarian. He really came on. He changed the game after his loss to McWeenie, and it, like most people would have bitched and complained, he just went back board, reshaped his style, and look at him now. He's in the semifinals of his own bracket. So Barbarian.
I'm going to do round one real quick. Barbarian was perfect. The kid missed 2. The Barbarian misses bonus. Really straightforward, nothing to go over here. Round 2 happens. Barbarian goes first. He gets Robert Rodriguez. He does really well. The kid gets Christopher Darling. What are you
He
guys'
sweeps it.
thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts about this?
I really loved the match up to this point because again, I love seeing the Barbarian come back and play the way not come back, but like play the way he did perfectly in round one, and then really do well in round two. But then to have the kid go perfect in round two and bring it down to that 1 point difference, that's the kind of comeback story I love. And Ben, it's just me and you now.
Yeah, okay, good. This is good practice. Okay.
What are your thoughts on the match, Ben?
It was a really well played match. Really like both of them. I mean, you almost have to go perfect. You either beat either one of these guys. What's your thoughts, Ryan?
I was gonna say exactly what you said, Ben. This was honestly, I thought this was gonna be all eyes were gonna be on Barbarian because the way the kid has been going this whole season. But seeing how the Barbarian he went perfect, and then the Rod Rodriguez round, I liked how he was having the discussion with Gucci, even though it looked like he was gonna spin again. Seeing how where he saw in his position amongst the kid between him and Brendan, between him and Brendan. I like the fact that he felt very confident that at least he could get at least 8% of the questions, and then seeing that he gets every single one of them, not even allowing Brendan to get a steal. And Brendan, without missing a beat, when he gets festival darlings, he's like, "Yeah, I'll take it." Freaking sweeps that round. Not even.
It's so interesting talking about Festival Darlings, Ryan, because like when they're talking about Moonlight, I'm like, yeah, I know that was a Festival Darling. It also won the Oscar that year. So like, where are we? what like, do you just have to be really loved at a festival? Because I always thought it was, and I guess maybe I always associate Festival Darlings more with like the indie movies and stuff, which like I know like Moonlight is no
Moonlight is something else.
yeah, Moonlight's very, oh my god, now I keep saying the wrong thing. Anyway, but like it's always interesting seeing that. But I love seeing Brendan just crush that category. You're so right. And like he and the Barbarian doing so well, you could tell he was on his game in round two, even though having to check down.
I do agree. And it went from that 2-point lead to a 1-point lead, but Barbarian was still ahead. And this match didn't disappoint me. I knew this was going to be a close game between the two of them, although I thought it was going to be on the other side with Brendan in the lead. But seeing how Barbarian with Elvis by his side, remain cool and calm. Really love the subtle jet. Like, he has not dropped his character at all. Like, he's now added more to where Elvis talks. And the words Elvis says, Jesus Christ.
Can I say something that's maybe controversial and maybe will get me canceled?
Please don't drop that word. That's too easy to throw out there, but go ahead.
Please do.
I'm like, I think I'm over Elvis as like a prop. I loved Elvis last season, and I was like, this is my favorite thing that a character has ever done. But I think I'm over Elvis.
You cancel right now, or
I'm glad that Ben is the one controlling the StreamYards, because I would have been kicked out if anyone else was.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I don't get you. I don't get you at all. For me, I love Elvis more and more. It's the shtick doesn't get old because he doesn't always overdo it. Yeah. But it's simple and yet effective and adds to his character. I don't get how you can get tired of him.
I think I've grown, and I always loved the Barbarian Craig, Monsieur Gagnon. I've always loved him as a character and as a player in the schmoedown. And I think I've just grown to love him more and more, where I'm like, I think he has grown beyond Elvis. I don't think he needs him anymore.
It may look like it, but he still uses him.
I think Elvis is slowly taking over Barbarian. Until next season, there will be no Barbarian. There will only be Elvis. But let's get into this round 3.
I think whenever Barbarian takes his retirement, Elvis should get the Yogi Awards.
Yeah, definitely.
Or if ever he takes a shtick off, I think Elvis should get it.
Now, in saying I'm over Elvis, and we'll move on to round 3 in just a second, Ben, I'm sorry. I would love to get like not a canon match, like a pay-per-view exhibition match, which is the Barbarian versus Elvis. I don't know how that happens, but I would just love to see that.
That would be interesting and that would be fun. The only thing I want to see more is somehow Bobby Gucci versus Finstock. I don't know how that would work.
Oh, it's easy. And it's funny because we're actually preparing a segment for SOS Me and Tackle. Yes, we're actually working together, which is a surprising thing. But I won't reveal exactly how, but we figured out how it would work. Is it standards of what schmoedown would do? Probably not, but we figured out how it would work.
Okay.
Interesting. Let's get into this round 3 real quick.
Oh, man.
Yeah. What did you guys think about round 3? Real fast.
Round 3, I really loved round 3, and here's why. Because it was like a slow car crash where you knew exactly what was about to happen. But I love that the kid kept he was happy about it the entire time. And even when the last question is being asked and they're like, okay, and the Barbarian's up by 3 and the kid needs to hit this. He's like, oh, okay, so that 2-point miss doesn't even matter. It's fine. I don't even care. He's just having a lot of fun with it. And that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I do agree with that as well. I like how I even appreciate that when he missed his 2-pointer that between the Muppet movie and the Muppets movie, he wasn't gonna go crazy over it like some managers would have. He's just, I missed. Okay, that's it. Move on. And even then, the 2-pointer would not matter because he missed that 5.
Well, and for me, the kid is what Roca is the character, in a sense that Roca is, especially at the beginning, he was the definition of a heel. For me, the kid is on paper what is a face should be: go lucky, good spirited, and always not trying to cause rumbles to cause rumbles. So I'm not surprised, and that's why many, not just me, many people love the kid. Again, on paper, he is the ultimate face.
Anything else to add, Dave?
Leo Logan brings up a great point in comments, which is this is Brennan's first miss of a 5-pointer. And like that goes to show how he plays. But he finally missed. Like I was just saying, the bill comes due eventually where you're going to miss something. Also, Taco brings up a great point in the comments also, which is we hit 250 subscribers right after I said like and subscribe if you want to see me punch Lou in the face. So I guess I owe that now.
But that being said, for it to be done, I have no problem. But Taco paid me the plane ticket to go see Dave, and we'll do a live recording of him punching the shit out of me.
I live in Ontario and you live in Quebec. It's like a 3-hour drive.
Okay,
why am I getting a
plane ticket? I don't know. Pay me something. I don't drive, so.
Okay, well.
Anyway.
Should we get on to the final match of the week? David Dan with Janine the Machine. What did you guys think of this going into the match?
Well, overall, this is a week of upsets. This is a week of nothing going to standards and what people expect, right? I love Janine. Again, Janine was her second interview. She's been a supporter. She is a lovely person and an amazing competitor, and really is excelling this year. But again, the standard, it's Dan. He's gonna win. Janine's going to give a super good fight, but it's Dan. And again, bracket buster happens. Can you pull out the Taco's comment, please?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I love you too, Taco. If you're buying the plane ticket, I'll let you punch me in the face. You can sleep on the sofa, and we'll probably hang out after. Because I deserve it half the time.
Anyway, I love that Lou's so right in that it's a week of upsets, but also this is the kind of classic match I love seeing. That when Ryan came back past.
No, because your internet is shitting again.
Somebody's internet is lucky.
Ryan, you gave it back. You're not supposed to give the curse back that quickly.
This isn't It Follows, man. I didn't try to give it to you.
Never mind.
And we lost Dave. Okay. But yeah, it was a week of upsets. But again, it's refreshing. Like, it's fun to see upsets like this and not giving, the kid versus Dan Murrow final and like the people you always expect and always present, right? So it's not expected, but it's definitely welcomed.
Ryan, what did you think of this match going into it?
I mean, I have a lot to say regarding the ending, but I will say that I do like to see in these in the singles in tournaments when the proposed, like, everyone the pairing that everyone predicts is changed. We saw that with the teams tournament this season. We saw that with IG, and we saw that with Star Wars. So I'm loving the fact that it's not even that singles was not even spared of this. Like, yes, Dan Murrow, unfortunately, he's not going to be at spectacular for playing for a championship, but we do get to see new blood come in, and we do get to see new blood really prove themselves against the old guard.
I think if you had to subtitle the season as a whole, it should be called Season 8 New Blood. It seems like there's a bunch of new blood out there, some rookie, some returning players who have something to prove, and this is the match that best represents that.
Yes.
Because we all love Janine, but it's Dan. But let's get into it.
It's mainly one of the reasons why I was going more for Janine. I mean, just like with Paige, I would love to see Dan once again challenge for a belt. But this season, it wasn't like I was looking for I wanted more upset city. I really wanted to see more fresh faces in the title picture. Like we saw with Marisol getting now as the champion. And like we're going to get at Spectacular with Robert Parker going up against Mike Kalinowski. And even in the Star Wars division we have for our finals, where it's not Alex Damon or Andrew DiMolanta or anyone else from the old Star Wars era of schmoedown matches. It's new blood from this season. And even though Janine, she's semi part of the old guard, but she's more along the line of she's still new. I would say she's a grizzled young veteran to where she wants to break through that ceiling, but she's never always had the best luck.
Yeah. Dave, before your internet craps out on you again, what did you think going into this?
Oh no, it's the Matrix. It's getting me. Oh no. But I was really excited about this match. Loved it, and I loved seeing Janine pull the upset. And I love a good comeback story. Her down 4-7 after the first round, and then coming back for the win. You love to see that.
One of them got perfect round 2s. It came down to round 3, and both of them only had the exact same points going into that 5-pointer. Janine got it. Unfortunately, Dan missed it. I mean, what does it say about these two players? Janine is great. Can't wait to see what comes up with her next. What does it say about Dan?
I don't know if it says anything about Dan. I think it just falls into what it says about the questions, honestly. Because round 2, Janine, she gets a slice that has done well for her in the past, rom-coms. And she does great. She sweeps that run. And then Dan, of course, he does this. I mean, he does similar when he lands on, was it Classics or?
No, it was Martin Scorsese.
Scorsese, okay, Scorsese. But even then, we do see with both Janine and Danan, did I say Danan? I meant Janine and Dan.
And Danan, yeah.
They both got categories that they're strong in, but it was still a wide range of questions because the categories it's a very wide range. I mean, Scorsese, outside of crime films, he has directed outside of his subjective taste. His area, his own personal taste of films. So knowing the fact that she was able to keep up with Dan, reducing that 3-point lead to a 1-point lead in the next round was it wasn't a 1-point lead. Fucking hell, I'm losing my mind here. Yeah, it was a 1-point lead. God damn it. I'm just I guess I'm just so hyped up because I want to talk more about it, but we can keep moving.
Go ahead, talk away. Well, before you do, Frenchie, what did you think about round 3 and all this?
Well, again, it was surprising, and you kind of felt that something's going to happen. You weren't really sure, but again, it's a week of shocks. That being said, like I wrote in private chat, I do have a job emergency meeting right now because someone shit the bed and 4 restaurants don't have any power, so I have to take over right now. But again, that case, thank you very much, Ben and Ryan, for letting me come on and disrupt these guys a bit. And Dave, I guess it was fun to see you again.
This fucking guy. This guy.
But in reality, Dave, I missed you. I missed you, bro. It's good to have you back.
I missed you too, buddy.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care, boys.
Bye, guys. Bye,
later, friends.
And I'm sorry. Bye, Dan.
Kick his ass out.
He mainly saw himself out.
Yeah, I know we're probably going to the end of the recap here. I just want to say, as a 90s kid, I never thought that the schmoedown would go so far to have a Lizzie McGuire movie question. Yeah. And when that came up, it just warmed my little heart. It just warmed my little heart.
Oh. You know what? And then me too.
The moment I heard that question, you fucking kidding me? Lizzie McGuire's 5-pointer? Holy shit! And I love how the way they phrased it. They didn't drop Hillary Duff's name in there, supporting players.
I thought for sure I was wrong because I was like, that sounds like the Hillary Duff movie or the Lizzie McGuire movie. I'm sure that's not what it is, though. I was convinced I was wrong. And then when Janine said it, I was like, wow, look how far we've come.
Yeah,
let's get a decom category on there.
Hell yeah. I'll do an exhibition match on decom. I'll play that.
Yeah. But one thing that did surprise me this round, this round 3, like I was going like rewatching this thing in my head like I normally do with matches before we start the show, Ben. I can remember seeing the look on Janine's face when she was after that first round going in the second one. And then, of course, unfortunately, she couldn't have Roxy in her corner, but she had Jacoby, who I'd say is also a great supporting player in her corner because they were in a team before. So he knew that he could really motivate her to stay focused. And it did keep her there. Although I would say when she missed that round three, when she missed that 3-pointer, you could almost see in her face where she felt it was over. I mean, she gets that 5-pointer. She's alive, yeah. But afterwards, it was like 15-9. It was 15-19 Janine's favor before Dan even asked a question. All Dan had to do was get 5 points and the game was over. It was just all about luck whether the questions were going to work towards her favor or Dan's. And after he got that raid question, I felt, God damn it, Janine fought her hardest. I was still holding out hope for her. And when he missed that 3-pointer, I'm like, holy shit. And then the 5-pointer came. I'm like, oh crap, a numbers question. I was in my truck, windows down. So when Dan missed that 5-pointer, I'm just yelling out, yes! Yes! And people across the street are looking at me like, what the hell is he looking at? That's how excited I was for Janine winning.
I bring up something very interesting that. Sorry, Ben. Oh,
No,
wait, you were just asking what I think, so never mind. You bring up something really fascinating, and that's just the Jacoby factor of it all. I loved seeing him manage Janine, and I wish so much that even though I liked her with Jeff, especially now that Jeff is not in the league, I would have loved if they had been able to stay together, if Blackjack had been able to stay together, because I think that would have been a dominant team.
Yeah, they're giving more than just one match, honestly.
Yeah.
I forget who is his
But
partner.
What?
Who is his new partner? I forget.
The guy
Jacoby?
from the FCL.
Oh, it was Nick Hartley. It was Nick Hartley.
Nick Hartley.
Right.
Hartley, yeah.
Yeah, they only had 2 matches.
The guy who in every single time I have a email with Nick Hartley in it, the best picture of him is one where he's holding an umbrella, and I have to spend extra time photoshopping out the umbrella. So I'm like, glad you're not in this match. You're not in any more thumbnails.
But man, this scene. But I mean, even the look on Janine's face when her name was announced as a winner was complete. I mean, I won't say total shock though, but it really does show you that just like when we saw at last year's Spectacular when the Odd Couple beat Shazam, anything really can happen. I mean, just don't never try to resign yourself because you may not know exactly if the competitor knows the question. And I will say, Dan's 5-pointer, it really was out of the slightest of margins. He just misses by 1 year with that question, with the Tarantino question. And even I was going back and forth on that. I'm like, how many years was Uma Thurman's character in a coma? Because I was trying to think how old the daughter was when she finds her again. I'm like, the daughter's got to be like 6, maybe 5. So I was thinking 7 years or 6 years. I was off, though.
Yeah. Brian in our chat brings up a great point, and I want to know if you guys agree. Is Janine a lock for comeback player of the year?
I wouldn't say so.
I mean, I would love to lean on that, Brian, but it depends on if she's able to if she's able to beat Barbarian and maybe win the tournament to be comeback player of the year. Right now, she's definitely in there for upset of the year.
I don't know. For Brady Bateman is probably upset of the year.
No, honestly, this is a bigger upset because sure, both Ben and players were allowing Paige and Janine win, but there was different there was expectations in both though because Janine, because Janine and Paige, she was a rookie this season. Of course, rookies upsetting veterans was nothing new, but seeing with Janine how most of her schmoedown history has gone. She has had struggles against she has taken players to their. She has fought the best players either in singles and teams, but every time she plays, she comes up short. So seeing her get a victory over Eric Zipper, over Mike Kalinowski, and now over Dan Murrell, and even this year, just looking at her year, how she played so well against Marisol and playing so well with Shazam. I mean, Brian, it is true that she is definitely a nomination for comeback player. I just can't see her as a lock-in right now until her next match. Because at this point, I'm going day by day with her. And I still believe in the Janine. I want Janine to go to the finals. Go ahead.
Could you say that her next match, which is Barbarian versus Janine, is actually the match for comeback player of the year?
Yeah.
Because I think he's probably up there in terms of, and I just see Taco's bringing that up as well, where even though he was only a rookie last year, he never got to the heights that we all expected him to. Like he didn't even play in teams. He didn't get to a singles belt. He didn't get to an IG belt, where like now he's playing at the top of his game singles tournament, where maybe the next match, which is Janine versus Barbarian, will be the match that determines comeback player of the year.
I mean,
that is a very strong point you do make. Both of them have, because last year both of them were playing in separate divisions with, and normally most competitors who play in more than one or more than two divisions, they tend to have themselves stretched out. But I would say this year Janine and Barbarian have refocused themselves. I mean, they're playing in where they want to play, and it has been paying dividends for them. Even their losses, they still pull out, like they still perform greatly in their losses. So this is definitely, I will say this match I will have the most like interest in, honestly. That's the match I'm excitedly looking forward to the most. Janine and Barbarian.
Can I just say I think that Janine's best year, and I think she works the best with Roxy and the team she's on now, and I hope Roxy keeps you next season and builds the stars around Janine. What do you guys think of that? Do you guys agree or disagree?
Well, it'll be interesting next year with how the factions are going to change. But I think Janine, especially with her, the fact that Roxy no longer has either member of the Odd Couple, I think Janine easy protect. Like that's, and I think you're right, Ben. This is easily Janine's best year, and I think she would be foolish not to re-sign with Roxy.
What do you think, Ryan?
I'd say the same as well. And Dave brought out the same points. The fact that both Andreyko and Snyder are gone, it takes away some of the hard choices that Roxy would have had to make between who she was going to retain. Now it's, to me, at least within her top three, I can easily see her get back Janine, Jacoby, and Nick Harley, because of those were her. At least when it comes with singles and teams, those are statistically her top points earners.
There's one name you didn't say, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. Alex Damon. Do you think he's next with her?
Well, I was looking more in the singles area, but go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I think he's also probably an easy retain for her. I think he enjoys playing with it, and I think pencil Alex Damon's name in next year for comeback player of the year, because like it finally happened. You know, he had even though I hate when people are like, oh yeah, it's been a bad season for Damon. I'm like, the man's in a number one contenders match in IG. He's got 2 perfect Star Wars matches. Yeah, all the way, but you can't say the king. And like, he still played at the top of his game in 2 leagues.
I wouldn't say it's a bad year for him. I might say it's a disappointing year for him.
It's what most of the
Only
community would
because
say,
That's fair.
honestly. But I mean, I would say if you look at recency bias, most people are going to say Alex had a bad year. But looking at the top of his year, though, the Star Wars champion coming had an incredible first match against Demolanta. He stumbled a little bit in the rematch, but even then, when he was playing in Inner Geekdom, he beats Barbarian to qualify for a #1 contender spot against Mike Kalinowski. And I was kind of thinking he would be one of Roxy's players to put in the Inner Geekdom tournament, but she stuck with Brandon Hanna, who was her first choice, and I give her a lot of credit to that. I'm just saying, like with Damon right now, if you rewind to the top of this year, and then it was a decline, obviously. To say it was bad or disappointing or it was underwhelming, but even then, Alex went in. He played 2 separate divisions to where if he had beaten Demolanta, he could have been somebody to become double belted in Inner Geekdom and Star Wars, which is a feat that has yet to be accomplished. So I will say next season, if Damon does decide to go back to Roxy and he still wants to play in Inner Geekdom, I'm just gonna say, look out. Damon now knows exactly what's in store for him in Star Wars, and he knows how to prepare himself for Inner Geekdom.
yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, any final things you guys want to bring up, Ryan? That's not just you.
I will say, Janine, without doubt, I'm still 100% behind her. I want to see her not only get to the finals, but I want to see her play at Spectacular. Because I would love to see a rematch between Marisol and Janine for that belt. I mean, have them recreate this, have them play the same way they played when they played each other during that little road to the #1 contendership to Collision. I want to see that match again, and I would love to see it an all-female final for the singles championship. I mean, it would be historically, it would be precedent.
That would be incredible. Dave, any final thoughts? Dave? You're muted, my man. Can't hear you. All right. Okay. So let's wrap up. Ryan, where can everyone find you?
Well, people can find people can find me obviously here on Schmoes in the North Saturdays on Mount Schmoedown.
Final thoughts, really great week of matches. If we're talking about Spectacular, I think the best thing that's ever happened. I'm gone. I'm not here anymore.
No, now you're here. You're here.
Now you're here. We can hear you. It was just an audio delay. Oh. No. I guess it just took a while for the computer to catch up with him.
Yeah.
If he comes back, we'll have him say his final thoughts. But what I was going to say was that where people can find me, obviously here, Schmoes in the North Network, Schmoes in the North YouTube channel on Sundays with Ben, recapping the schmoedown matches. But we may have less and less to recap now since we're coming closer and closer to the finals of the singles tournament. But other than that, you can definitely find me on Saturdays on the Schmoedown on the Schmoes in the North Network as part of Mount Schmoedown, co-hosting along with Ben, John DeGreggio, and Allison Salamone. Got her name. Salamone. Got her name. Yeah. Go check our episode yesterday that myself, Allison, and Ben and John, where we had Thomas Harper on the show, and we got to pick his brains, about his season this year, about his thoughts on Star Wars division and his overall feelings of being part of the Schmoedown. And and also I'm gonna give it a tease a bit, but we're also gonna have another great guest lined up for us on this upcoming Saturday, the 20th. So just keep your eyes and your ears open for our tweet on our Mount Schmoedown Twitter, as we are going to reveal who our next guest is going to be.
It's going to be a great one. Anything else? I know you have a wrestling podcast, right?
Yes, I do. That's right, Ben. I do have a wrestling podcast. I co-host it along with first class lead competitor James Shimo, and third co-host we have, his name is Brenton McPherson. It's called the Wrestling Ramblings and Rages podcast. We've just released some brand new episodes where myself, Brendan, and James, where we give our thoughts on the previous AEW pay-per-view. Well, we gave predictions for the AEW pay-per-view Full Gear, and we also had a couple of our own thoughts on the current releases from the WWE, from World Wrestling Entertainment. Just go and check those out on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, wherever you get your podcasts on, and give it a listen. Trust me, you will not hear any negative. I mean, outside releases, you won't hear any other negativity from James and myself.
Awesome. And you guys can find me at my Twitter at Ben_Reader, like Ryerson every Saturday. I'm at schmoedown. Every Sunday right here on schmoedown night in Canada on the Sunday show. On Thursdays on Shooting the Breeze. On Mondays recapping Space and Time. And Saturday mornings on Get Ready. And tune in next Saturday night, Saturday, November 20th. We're doing something fun about Doctor Who. Come join that out, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week, and keep on watching schmoedown.